I do this. And then I think to myself, why am I actually doing this? Because I'm talking to AI. What I'm talking about is when you are using ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot, name your favorite AI bot, do you say please and thank you? I do all the time. And as it turns out, Apple AI CEO Sam Altman says that those little thank yous are costing the company tens of millions of dollars a year. Why? Because of electricity. So every single time that you are nice to a chatbot, you're just setting the power bill through the roof. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this. It's America's largest, best, award-winning show about all things digital. And I am, of course, America's beloved digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again to always make sure that you are tech ahead. Because if you're not tech ahead, you're going to be left behind in the digital dust. Now, here's the deal. You can find our show on over 425 top stations across the United States, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can also get the Kim Komando Show as a podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for Komando with a K, of course. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 servicemen and women in 175 different countries. And I just love this. 200 ships at sea get the Kim Komando Show. Now, I know you can go to your favorite chatbot and ask all kinds of questions, but let me tell you a secret. Those chatbots hallucinate. And I don't hallucinate, well, here on the show. Okay, every once in a while I do. But if you're looking for trusted advice, the Komando hotline's open for you right now at 1-888-825-5254. And just a reminder, if you're just too shy to come on a big-time show and podcast, you can always drop me your questions by heading over to komando.com. And then there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. And I'd like to thank NetSuite for helping to make this show possible. Over 41,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle. It's the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all into one fluid platform. Now, here's the deal. You can download the CFO's Guide to AI machine learning for free right now at netsuite.com/Kim. And by the way, you don't need to be a CFO to get it. That's netsuite.com/Kim. Every single day of my life, weekends, weekdays, national holidays, it just doesn't matter, is that I visit at least 35 to 40 different sites. I talk to industry insiders and I read the white papers to make sure that I know exactly what's happening in the tech industry. And then here on the show, there's this transference of intellect and know-how and fun that happens directly from my brain to yours. And here are the top 5 things that you need to know what's happening right now. And we're going to start with monopoly. How do you spell monopoly? Anyone? Google. That's right. About a year ago, a federal judge ruled that Alphabet's Google broke the law, and they created this illegal monopoly with almost all online searches. And I know you're sitting there going like, well, duh, yes. Well, how did they do it? They coughed up $26 billion in a payoff scheme to make Google the default search site in almost all smartphones. And no one's really had an honest chance to compete. And so now the Department of Justice is coming up with an idea to actually break up a $2 trillion company. Their idea is to force Google to sell Chrome, because Chrome is not just a browser. It dominates over 60% of the global desktop market. It's huge. And they also want to end Google's exclusive deals with Apple and Samsung and the phone makers. Now, Google says, oh, we're not that bad. Please don't do that to us. Please, 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 please. We'll see what happens. All right, moving on to number 2. Of course, we all know that Pope Francis died, and now there are 135 Roman Catholic cardinals qualified to vote for the next pope. So I asked the leading AI chatbots for their prediction. And AI is pretty good for predictions, but not exactly for the Pope. Okay, both Google, Gemini, and Elon Musk Grok, they say the Vatican Secretary of State, Italian Cardinal Pietro Parolin, is actually going to be the top contender. And then, meanwhile, ChatGPT gives the edge to the Philippine Cardinal, Luis Antonio Tange, but behind, once again, the Italian Vatican Secretary of State. Meanwhile, if you ask Microsoft Copilot, it says, I don't know. Which one do you think is going to win? There you go. Moving on to number 3. Let's say you hop on a Zoom call, you see someone staring back at you, and you answer some questions. They speak well, they seem qualified, but something seems off. Maybe that candidate could be a deep fake. Now, I told you about the North Korean hackers using deep fake job candidates to get jobs here in the US. But you don't need to be some tech wizard, as it turns out, to pull it off. A study from the cybersecurity firm Palo Alto Networks found that it took one of their researchers with no prior experience just 70 minutes, wow, to create a deep fake candidate. So, how do you tell if a person is real? I want you to remember this. Ask the candidates to pass a hand over their face. Can you just do that? Put your hand over your face. I guess this causes the computers to glitch out. Watch for sudden lighting changes, lag behind speech, and anyone who says, AI is my master. AI is my master. Number 4 is really serious. It's kind of frightening. A plane was landing at San Francisco's International Airport and it was too late for the pilot to move. It passed by a windshield 300 feet away was a drone. An AP review found that drones were involved in nearly 2/3 of all near-miss collisions reported in the 30 busiest U.S. airports last year. Near mid-air collisions, mean that they could have ended in disaster. And so now there's no nationwide system to direct drones or track who's flying them. Violators are hard to catch. The FAA is testing tech like radio jammers, even lasers to knock them out of the sky. Isn't that just frightening? So if you have a drone, just don't fly it by an airport, okay? And finally, this coming in at number 5, we're going to go to Australia for this story. A Bodysurfer got sucked out to sea more than a half a mile from shore, and he thought, well, this is it. Then he thought, you know what? I wonder if my Apple Watch could help. And he sent out an SOS alert. He hit the side of his watch to make the emergency call. It went through. Listen to this.
Yeah, hi. I'm in very rough seas. I was boat surfing, but I've been sucked right up to sea in Byron Bay.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to understand because he made the call in the middle of the ocean and he was in the water for about 20 minutes treading water until he got rescued. A chopper came out and says he wouldn't be alive if it were not because of this watch. So if you're listening and you have an Apple Watch, here's how you dial emergency SOS. You press and hold the side button until the emergency slider appears and then drag the slider all the way to the right. And a PSA, because summertime's right around the corner, swim parallel to the shore and you want to float, don't fight. Hey, let's be honest, our personal information is just everywhere. Creeps and data brokers are out there just scooping up anything they can find. I'm talking about birthdays, social security numbers, political views, medical conditions, you name it. It's not even shocking anymore, is it? But that doesn't mean you have to put up with it. You see, Incogni is my secret weapon when it comes to online privacy. They do all the hard work of getting your personal data removed from people's search sites and all these shady data brokers. And now they've totally stepped it up. Incogni's new unlimited plan gives you the power to submit links to specific websites where your info is exposed, and then their team works to get it taken down. Real humans, real results. So you see, it's not just about privacy, it's also about peace of mind. You're going to notice fewer spam calls, fewer spam texts, fewer creepy emails, because you're going to take control over your digital life. Now, if you go to privacykim.com, that's where you get my exclusive deal with Incogni. Once again, that's privacykim.com. It's 60% off. That's right, 60% off. You can't, I love Incogni. You really need to check this out. Go to privacykim.com. All right, coming up, we have some really great things to pass along. There's a post going viral about how you can be using tinfoil with your Wi-Fi to get a better connection. And it's just blowing people's minds. We're going to talk about that. How to stop your electronics from exploding. Yes, that's a very important tip right there. And also how criminals are using $20 to distract you so that this way they can steal from you. And then, of course, we just have the best callers ever. And you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, we have a brand new contest for you to enter. You want to go to winfromkim.com. And once you're there, see, I'm going to be giving you $500, and then you can pay it forward and give the next person $500. It's really amazing. No purchase required. You want to go to winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com. And there's a gentleman sitting in the studio right now. Well, he's not really a gentleman. I mean, are you a gentleman?
Nah. Especially not during the weekends.
Exactly. That's Andrew Babinski, my cohort, also the morning show co-host on KEZ in Phoenix, Arizona.
So you're saying someone listening right now is going to get $500 from Kim Komando.
Yes.
And then they get to give me $500 after that? That is so cool.
I've been saving this joke for you.
Oh, great.
Okay, because I know you love my jokes.
Love them.
And I started the show about how I am polite to the chatbots. So are you ready? This is a joke. I don't know. Maybe it's too good for you.
Let me hear it. Lay it on me.
This is something that you're going to want to really share with everybody because it's about being polite. So,
I always share your jokes with everyone.
So what do you call a polite cop?
I don't know. What do you call a polite cop?
A please officer.
You started laughing before you even got that horrible punchline out.
I am so funny. You ready to take some phone calls?
Sure.
All right. Let's start with Kat in Irvine, California. Welcome to the show, Kat. What's been going on?
Hi, Kim. I'm really excited to be talking to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So all I see is unsettling phone calls, and I think we've had a few of those in our lives.
It's not this one, is it? This isn't the unsettling phone call you're talking about.
It just started.
No,
She doesn't know if it's unsettling yet.
Maybe she can see into the future.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I mean, that pretty much sums it up, a very unsettling phone call. But let me just tell you what happened. So about 3 years ago, I was studying abroad in Ireland with my parents, and they had flown over to visit me. So it was the end of my program, and we were all staying in a hotel. My parents, they were in a separate hotel room than me. So me being lazy, I went to call my mom to ask if they were ready to head to dinner. I dialed her number. It rang once or twice, and then I heard my mom speaking. But she sounded like she was in the middle of a conversation. So I assumed she was just talking to my dad, who was in the same room. Naturally, I go, "Hey, Mom," to get her attention, but she ignored me. Then I heard my brother's voice on the phone, which was strange because, you know, he was not in Ireland, but back in the U.S. So I quickly realized they were talking to each other on the phone. I thought, okay, maybe my mom is on the phone right now with my brother and somehow my phone intercepted it.
Right.
But as I kept listening to their conversation, I realized that this was a phone call from at least a few years ago. I could hear my brother telling my mom some personal matters that happened while in college, which was strange because he had already been graduated for at least a couple of years at that point. And he was talking about the dorms and his classes in the present tense. And my mom was also replying with advice for him.
Wow.
So upon arriving at this conclusion, I got super creeped out and just hung up on the call. Soon after, I went over to my parents' hotel room and immediately asked my mom if she had just spoken to my brother on the phone. She replied saying no, and that the last time she spoke to him was a few days ago. I asked if they had been talking about my brother's college times, and she said no, they were just catching up. I then told my parents what had just happened, and she agreed that it was completely bizarre and very creepy. And since then, I've never gotten an answer as to why that happened or heard of it happening to anyone else. And I don't believe that there's any tapping or listening software being installed.
Sure.
My parents, my family, they're so under the radar. Nobody's trying to listen to their phone calls. And there's just something a bit unsettling in the fact that my mom and brother's personal conversation from years ago was being recorded and another person heard it, which was me in this instance. And it's never happened again. And if you have any possible explanations, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, go, Kim. Explain it.
Isn't he great? Isn't he fabulous? He's so good. We pay him. Maybe we need to hire somebody else, but we're going to pay him more money. Okay. You know where I found him. I found he was working at McDonald's. I felt sorry for Andrew. I said, "Come on over."
But I can make a mean Happy Meal.
Yes. Boy, that is unsettling, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
Because you start thinking about all these conversations that you've had over the years, and to have them come back out of nowhere, and then a third party listening to them.
Were you calling your mom on her cell phone from your cell phone?
I was using my cell phone, which had international. I had an international carrier, and I was calling my mom's phone number. She was using AT&T, so I don't know if that helps at all.
Well, this isn't common, thank goodness.
No.
But it's not impossible, especially when you start talking about international calls. Your mom may have been on a roaming package, a server glitch. You know, hey, these companies, tech companies, they always like to use the word glitch.
Sure.
You notice that? It's like it's never a problem.
It's a glitch that 500 million Social Security numbers are now on the dark web.
And we're not sure how it happened, but if we reboot it, I bet you it'll fix just about anything out there. Here's what happens. Carriers, they will cache call audio and voicemail data. And it works a little bit much like a hard drive. So like when you save a file onto your computer's hard drive or on your phone, is that it overwrites data that has already been used. And so when you delete something, it just flags it and says, okay, if you need a spot to save something, I'm over here. This is a blank piece of paper for you to use. So what it sounds like is that this was stored in your mom's account, and it was when you called, somehow there was something that happened that was meant to overwrite that particular call with the call with you and your mom to save that and to store that, is it has to store it even temporarily to let the conversation happen. But instead of doing that, it actually played it.
Yes. So truly like a glitch.
Truly like a glitch.
Or it could be you signed up for Verizon's new alternate dimension plan, which allows you to make calls into the past.
Or, or maybe like you're in Ireland and then you're going to go back to like Outlander. Okay.
Right. I mean, it really did feel like I was traveling in time in a way.
Oh, I would bet.
I would get so freaked out.
I would be so freaked out too. I mean, and then especially, good thing they weren't talking about you.
Or, unfortunately, you could have learned some secrets.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I mean, let me tell you, my cat is such a pain in the neck. I can't. Are you sure that we have the same father? Come on.
I don't even want to go with her to Ireland in a couple of years.
I mean, geez. I mean, what's going on? That would be a bit of a nightmare.
That would be weird. Yeah, I'd be freaked out, too. I would call you if that happened to me as well.
Thank you. And I will help you out always, Andrew.
Thank you.
Hey, Kat, thanks for sharing your story with us. Let me talk about DraftKings Pick 6, because stay tuned to hear all that DraftKings has to offer. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I don't know if you know this, Andrew, but over on X, people are freaking out over this viral post that says, put aluminum foil behind your Wi-Fi router and you'll thank me later. Have you seen that?
Does it boost it?
Yes, actually it does. If you fold a sheet of tin foil, aluminum foil into a curve and you place it behind the router's antennas, it reflects that signal forward. Kind of it kind of like helps you get rid of the dead zones.
Right.
Now, of course, if you want anything behind the router,
you're in trouble. Yeah. This is assuming your router is against the wall.
Exactly. And so you want to keep the router as high as you want, away from baby monitors, microwaves, and all the other good stuff.
Or if you take that same piece of foil and put it on top of your head, you'll be able to hear phone calls from the past.
Ooh.
Another quick tip.
Okay. Are you sure?
No.
I'm not thinking that's a good idea.
I just made that up.
I know. It's okay. We'll let you go. So if you do see that on social media and you're like, does it really work? Yeah, it does. But just keep in mind that there is a downside to that, as always. Let's see. Coming up, criminals are using $20 to distract you, to steal your debit card. What? How does this even happen? And of course, we have more of your phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, do you want to glow from the inside out? Get your natural radiance back with Native Path Collagen. Some studies suggest collagen supplements may support bone health, tissue recovery, and just overall skin and hair wellness. And right now, get 45% off plus free shipping and a free gift bundle by going to getnativepath.com/Kim. That's getnativepath.com/Kim.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individual results may vary.
We have some insider email secrets to pass along. But before we get to that, Andrew, let's take some more calls.
Who you got?
I got Roger in Austin, Texas. Welcome to the show, Roger. What's going on?
Thank you, Kim. I really appreciate your body of work. Your newsletter always has a nugget in it that is useful. Your most recent, I think, was the IMEI number on your phone, and I would have never thought to track that.
That is the number. Do you know what that is, Andrew?
Yeah, it's that thing on there.
Yeah. He's very technical.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get too deep in the weeds with you, Roger.
That's okay.
It was the what?
The thing on there.
I see, yes. The thing on your phone, that if you have the IMEI number and your phone gets stolen or you lose it, is that you call your carrier, is that they can lock down your phone so that even if they try to put it in a SIM card, they can't use it. So this is just an example of the wealth of intellect and knowledge that you get with the free newsletter.
You know how smart I am. I was just going to suggest taking a screenshot of it.
Yes, you do. You take a screenshot.
And if my phone gets stolen.
Exactly. I was going to say, save it on your phone. Okay. And so this way, when your phone gets stolen.
I have that number.
You have it right there.
Just need my phone.
Thank you, Raj. So what's going on with you?
We need a video surveillance system for our property, and I've searched high and low to find someone to give good advice on good equipment, but we'd like to have power over Ethernet cameras and our own NVR to where we're not dependent on any cloud services, where we can record it and have 7 to 10 days of surveillance video from about 4 cameras.
So did something happen that makes you want to get this entire system, especially power over Ethernet?
Well, we had you and I would call it a home invasion, but technically it was a felony burglary. And we had a guy kick through our back door and attack us. Just one of those things you never imagine will happened.
Wow.
And so amongst a lot of other things that we've done to secure our property, the next step is really investing in a video surveillance system that's very visible, that sends a message, and
for sure,
and also records things so that if something were to happen, we'd have proof of it.
Did you get hurt?
Yes.
What happened?
Thankfully, my wife did not. But there was we live in a rural area, and there was a party going on down the street, and a young girl, 18 years old, tried to break up with her boyfriend, and he wasn't having it. He went ballistic and tried to strangle her, tried to kill her.
Oh, my gosh.
And she just ran to the nearest light, which happened to be our back porch light. So about a city block, she was running from him, and she showed up at our back door, obviously, screaming, he's coming. And I let her in and locked the door, and my wife came up and kind of took her while I dialed 911. And about halfway through my call with 911, the guy kicks through the back door and attacks me. And so for 20 minutes until the deputy showed up, we're on our own.
Right.
And that's the deal with living outside of town. You need to be able to take care of yourself for 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes the sheriff's departments aren't staffed as well at night, and it can take 20 to 30 minutes that you really need to be able to plan, be ready for, and defend yourselves for that interim amount of time. Of course, there's a lot more detail to it, but he was a complete stranger, and it was, I think, a combination of PCP and meth that he was on. probably the most violent individual I've ever witnessed, even on TV.
Wow.
It's just one of those things that can and did happen. We've learned a lot of lessons from it.
Did you have a firearm?
Yes, but he was not armed.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people that will come back and immediately say, why didn't you shoot him? And I can't answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
He was unarmed. I was physically in much better shape, and I felt like I could handle it.
Okay.
And ultimately I did, but not without physical harm. But when the deputy showed up, I was still standing and he was flat on the ground. So, in that instance, it worked out. But physically, I'm not able to defend myself like I was then. Not physically.
Yeah.
So he won't get a second chance. The last thing that he said before they carted him off in the ambulance was, I'm coming back to kill all of you.
Oh, my gosh.
So while he's in prison, we don't expect that to be a long-term solution. They're already talking about early release, and which is somewhat disturbing, but
For sure.
It is what it is. But next time there will probably be a much different outcome. But in the meantime, again, we've taken steps to protect our property with fencing and gates and
For sure.
and other means to automatically notify the police if something were to happen. But Kim, actually, when it happens, you don't want an intermediary between you and 911. You really want to talk to them directly. You don't want someone calling saying, "Are you really having a problem? Is this a real alarm?" Much better to just call 911 and go straight to the source where they can dispatch help.
Right. Gosh, Raj, I'm sorry that you and your family you're going through all this.
What a crazy story.
Yeah, it's a complete nightmare.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest lesson for us, and I appreciate that sentiment, but the biggest lesson for us was that you've got to have a plan. It can happen to you, and you need to plan for it. And yes, some of those plans may cost some money, but some of them are free.
It's it wasn't the same thing, but I'm sure you've heard the news about the South American gangs that have been targeting homes.
Oh, yes.
Taking out the Wi-Fi. And my husband and I were in the kitchen having dinner, and we both looked at each other and said, "What's that sound?" And over our house were a couple of police helicopters and drones. Wow. And apparently my home was targeted by the Chilean gangs, and the police had gotten word about it. And as a matter of fact, I put the video up on our YouTube channel, and where the Phoenix SWAT team came storming into my house, into the property. But because my home is fully wired, when they tried to disconnect the security system, disconnect the Wi-Fi, I'm talking about the Chilean gangs,
right?
That they weren't able to do that. So they probably they saw that when they were trying to turn off everything, it wasn't being turned off, that they actually fled. But then they were trying to come back a couple weeks later to try again.
Oh my goodness.
And so, it does make you think, and I'm happy to give you all the product recommendations that you need. And what I want to do is I want to hook you up with John, our very own IT genius, who helped design the security system in my home.
That would be wonderful.
With things that are stored not in the cloud, are stored locally. But I will tell you, if you drive around my house now, Roger, you see poles and poles and poles of dedicated security cameras and signs, a lot of signs that says everything's being recorded off property. There's a license plate reader right by my front door, by the front gate,
Right.
rather. There's there are AI cams, there are facial recognition cams, all kinds of things. And because you have to, and of course we have a security system and we put it on all the time. We do. And so it does make you stop and think. And what would you say to anybody who's listening right now, Roger, who says like, oh, I don't have to worry about that?
Oh, wow. In this day and age, I would beg them to rethink that if it can happen to us, a retired couple living out in the country, away from, inner city business, they really need to stop and think and plan. And there's several things, like my wife knows if something happens, she's to get flat. I need her down. I need to know that I've got 365 degrees where if forced to do so, I can shoot and know that she's safe.
Yes.
And of course, you can make a safe room in a bedroom. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but anything to delay what might happen until law enforcement can get there.
And I think, what you said is so important, is that you do need a plan. And you don't want to think about it. Who wants to think about something horrendous like this happening? But you do need a plan. So, Roger, I'm going to put you offline, have you talk to John, and that this way we can get you set up with the right tech, the right electronics. And also, we're gonna give you some pictures of the signs that I have in my yard. We have signs. We got a lot of signs.
Your husband loves signs.
We have signs everywhere. There are signs. Don't go here.
But these
here.
signs were Kim approved because when it comes to the security of the home.
Yes, they are. I'm like, it's fine. I don't care how many signs you put up. Armed response. I love that. My favorite one is armed response because, Arizona is a concealed carry state. Absolutely. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit and let's talk about cybercrime because it's not slowing down. It's actually getting worse. And hackers are smarter, sneakier, and they're after everything, your devices, your data, even your bank account. So how exactly do you fight back? One of the best defenses is solid antivirus software. It scans for malware, blocks suspicious websites, and stops hackers before they can do any damage. It's a healthy dose of thinking twice when opening emails or clicking links. That doesn't hurt either, but for the antivirus help you need, I trust and recommend Total AV. They update you in real time, keeping you protected with the latest threats. Go to protectwithkim.com right now. Get Total AV for just $19 for the first year. Covers up to 5 of your devices, Windows, Macs, and smartphones. And don't wait until it's too late. Your security matters. Get protected right now at protectwithkim.com. Once again, protectwithkim.com. All right, here's this great email tip. So you're sitting there with a cluttered inbox and you're like, how can I make sure that I can unsubscribe to every single thing that I don't want anymore? Here's the brilliance of listening to the Kim Komando Show. You search for unsubscribe. And when you search for unsubscribe, all of this junk email is going to pop up and then you get all the unsubscribe links. Yes, you're going to love that. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. Every time you go online, internet providers track your every move. And here in the United States, they're selling our browsing history, even in incognito mode. And until that becomes illegal, protect yourself like I do with ExpressVPN. It's an easy-to-use app, encrypts and reroutes all your internet traffic through secure servers. And by using ExpressVPN, my internet provider cannot see my browsing history. I can hide my IP address. That's the number that identifies me and my location online. And I can change my IP address to be more anonymous online. With servers in over 100 countries, I can appear virtually anywhere I choose. ExpressVPN's super easy to use. Get connected with just a single button. Apps for every device, phones, laptops, desktops, tablets, even your router. Get up to 4 extra months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. expressvpn.com/Kim. Dwayne in Beaumont, Texas. Glad to have you with us. Hi there, Dwayne.
Hello, Kim.
So what's going on?
I must admit I'm not a long-time listener, but I've heard clips on KLVI, so I've started listening. I've definitely been tuning in because you're definitely, I guess, the tech goddess is the term they use.
That's it.
So I'm antiquated. I'm 54, and I pushed back against the machine for many, many years. And as I've advanced in my career, I have had to embrace technology. And so there's several reasons I'm interested in AI and becoming more proficient or learned in AI advancements is because I'm in the safety business and construction safety, and I'm wanting to utilize it. I can see a potential there for utilizing as a tool and training.
Yeah, let me tell you, AI is everywhere. AI is going after every single job in every single industry. And if you don't know AI, you're going to be left behind.
Correct. And I've learned that, I used to fight against the machine. Like I said, I've learned that when you do that, you get nowhere. So I just forced myself to embrace it. And I've become much more proficient over the years, and it's been beneficial. And I do see what you've been speaking on a lot lately is the advancement of AI. And, I have some fears there. My wife said, "Oh, be careful." So, I said, well, the cat's out of the bag.
It is out of the bag. So we're getting I don't want to run out of time, Dwayne. So how exactly can I help you out today?
I'm just looking for, I know that there's a few free courses, like maybe Berkeley would offer some, but I was wondering if there's more courses that I could take just to get started in it, some intermediary type stuff.
For sure. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, there's elements of AI. There's IBM has something called Skills Built that if you haven't checked that out, that's definitely checking. Coursera and Harvard has some classes. Matter of fact, if you open up Monday's free newsletter, called The Current, my free newsletter. I'm going to have a whole list of places where you can take AI classes for free. And so make sure that you get the newsletter. If you're not signed up already, head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. Hey, Dwayne, thanks for your call. Coming up, we have more of the show you don't want to miss. Better hire start with smarter insights. LinkedIn has the strongest hiring data and insights to help you identify the right candidates. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. Terms and conditions apply. So, Andrew, what if someone walked up to you and say, "Hey, dude, you dropped $20."
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me bend down and pick that up.
You don't want to do that, because when you do that, there's a new scam that's spreading, is that they're going to try to get the wallet out of your pocket, supposedly to put the $20 back in your wallet. Say, "Here, let me give it back to you." And then when they have your wallet, they steal your debit card, and then they go ahead and steal everything that you have.
This is not a new scam. This is pickpocketing.
I know, but
they've been doing this since like the 1800s.
It's viral and trending. Got to talk about it. Hey, don't forget, make sure that you sign up for the free newsletter at getkim.com.